Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing 3 films in this one review. And that is, of course, the Gigdet movies. From the the first one was in 1959, starring Sandra Dee and James Damon. The second film, which was called Gigdet Goes Hawaiian, which came out in 1961. And the third film in the series was Gigdet Goes to Rome, which came out in 1963. Now, the reason why I'm combining all 3 of these films in this one review is because all 3 of the films are pretty much the same thing, except they're in obviously different locations. We bring one in Southern California in the first film, the second film in Hawaii, and the third film in Rome. So they're all pretty much the same thing. A lot of romantic problems with Gigdet and her boyfriend, her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Moondoggie, who, and this is the only actor who's really been in all 3 films. It was James Damon. Of course, some 20 years later, or over 20 years later, compared to the first film, he starred in T.J. Hooker in the television series with William Shatner. And then, of course, in the mid to late 90s, he starred on a few episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So he has a pretty damn long career. And recently, a couple weeks ago, he celebrated, I think, his 85th or 86th birthday. So this guy, James Damon, not only has a longevity of having a long life in his mid-80s, but also he has a very, very long and distinguished career. And it varies from different parts. So you can say that he has, he had a full life and a full career. And I do hope that he continues to act in some capacity. Well, as a T.J. Hooker fan and a Star Trek fan, I hope he does have continues his career into his 90s, I hope, God willing. But for the Gigdet films, like I said earlier, James Damon is the only actor who's actually been in all 3 of these films. The problem is that in the 3 films, we had different actors playing Gigdet. And I'm going to explain why she got that nickname, because it came in the first film. But you had different actors playing the role of Gigdet, and you also had different actors playing the parents. In the second film, Gigdet Goes Hawaiian, you actually had Carl Reiner actually portraying Gidget's father in the second film. The first one was Arthur O'Connor played the father in the first film. And I forgot the actor who played Gidget's father in the third film. But you had 6 different actors playing the part of Gidget's parents in the 3 movies. And you also had different actors and actresses playing the friends that Gigdet hangs out with in the 3 films. It's nuts. It's almost like James Bond. Every few movies, well, at least the James Bond movie series, every few movies they got different actors playing James Bond. He plays James Bond for more than, except for George Lazenby, playing part in more than one film. But for Gigdet, every single movie you had different actors playing the role, and you had different. I don't know what the reason, for that is. I guess because the first movie, which we're going to more than the other 2 films, was played by Sandra Dee, and Sandra Dee was a huge star at the time. And I guess maybe because she got too big of a star to play, or she didn't want to be stuck with playing one character for her career. That could be it too. Funny things happen in Hollywood, or Hollywood, whatever you prefer. Well, the first film, Gigdet, like I said earlier, came out in 1959, and so Sandra Dee is a title character. As the summer, she just turned 17, or about to turn 17, and she's about to start her junior year in high school. And in the first film, the second film was supposed to start her senior year, and then by the third film, she's about to start college. But that's how they evolve. Even though the movies came out every 2 years, that's how they decided to do that. That's probably the reason why they didn't cast a different actress, because maybe Sandra Dee was too old to play the part. But regardless, She wanted to have one summer to enjoy the beach, and me and her friends, all girlfriends, she was in a group with 3 or 4 other girls, and they all wanted to get, laid. Pretty much, it's like Sex in the first Gidget movie is like Sex in the City for teenagers. That's basically what I calling it, because they all want to get hook up with a guy, for the summer, and maybe have a steady boyfriend, go into to the junior year in high school, because they would feel like total losers if they don't get a steady boyfriend to go into the junior year, because they think, oh, we're not old enough to get a steady boyfriend. But Gidget, her real name was actually Frances, felt that she didn't want to be that type of a girl who wants to keep hooking up with one guy after another like her girlfriends did. But she somehow got involved or became friendly with the group of surfers, and the one of the big kahuna was played by Cliff Robertson. Right? I should point out Cliff Robertson was in the first Gidget movie, and he became kind of like a mentor to her, because she really didn't know how to surf. She knew how to swim, but she didn't know how to surf. And so he was giving her lessons. And then Moondoggy, his actual name was Jeff Wallace, played by James Darren. The two of them were giving her lessons, and she was really playing one off against the other. And every time when she hung out with one of these two characters, the other one would get jealous. So it was like constant. And then what happened was she ends up going steady by the end of the summer with James Darren. The problem was that his character, Moondoggy, was going to go to college, or start college that year, because he was maybe a couple of years older. So he said, okay, be your girl for the whole year. So that's what happens, and that's pretty much how the movie ends, with the two of them getting pinned. Of course, those of you don't know what getting pinned means. It means when a guy is in college, he has like a fraternity pin, and he gives the pin to his girlfriend. It means that they're going steady. That's pretty much what it is. Naturally, of course, you don't know what going steady means nowadays. It's because you have a steady boyfriend-girlfriend relation, someone to hang out with, or go to movies, or go to dinner, or whatever, or to make out, whatever. So that's pretty much how the first movie ends. And it was a decent film. And what I didn't know about, I should mention how Gidget got her nickname, because the other boys in this little group of surfers thought she was too small to be a surfer, because they were short and petite, and I mean, they're not saying that she's not a good-looking girl. I mean, she's Sandra Dee. I mean, of course, she's hot, but they thought that she was too small or too tiny to be, a surfer girl. They like the Beach Boys song. So they call her Gidget for girl. It's a short version of girl and midget. They combined the two words girl and midget for Gidget. That's how they got the. Of course, naturally nowadays in 2022, you're not going to get away with calling a girl a midget. Today, or they call them like a little person or something. But by that time, it was okay to call somebody a midget if they're short. But that's how Gidget got her nickname. Everybody else pretty much called her Frances, her parents, her friends and stuff. And then eventually the nickname caught on, and everybody, even her parents, eventually started calling her Gidget, over the course of the 3 films. Of course, this movie was very, very successful, the first Gidget film. And not only that, but, which I didn't even know until I started watching this movie, that Gidget was actually started the whole beach movie genre. At least one of the earliest and not the earliest, one of the first and not the first, I should say, of the beach movie genre, which of course took hold in the 1960s with the Frankie Avalon and Ned Fiorillo films, which pretty much took the same premise of the Gidget films and to make it more of a mainstream genre in the early to mid 1960s. Of course, at least in those movies, you see a Nefercello in a bikini, which I feel kind of ripped off not seeing Sandra D in a bikini in this in this film. We do kind of see Gidget in a bikini in the other two films, but of course it was played by a different actress. Well, the second movie I should get into now, which of course is Gidget Goes Hawaiian, which of course when Gidget goes with her parents to a trip to Hawaii, and at the very beginning of the film, James Darren comes back from a summer break from college, and they get into a fight, which they usually did. I mean, in the first movie they argued a lot as well in the first film, so it's like a continuation of argument between the two characters, and she decides to break up with Moondoggy. I can't believe I'm actually saying that name, Moondoggy. And of course, she decides not to go to. Originally, she decided not to go to Hawaii with her parents because she wanted to spend time with her boyfriend, and he's only had like a week or so. A week or two for the summer break before he goes back east to college, and she wants to spend as much time as she can with her boyfriend, and he wasn't coming along to Hawaii. He wasn't doing. He was staying. Because actually he wants to visit his father, stay with his father, visit him, spend time with him as well. So you have, your typical boyfriend-girlfriend problem in this film. And of course she breaks up with him and goes to Hawaii anyway with her parents, and she's all depressed, and she meets this girl who was like a little conniver, and of course Gidget's father realizes how depressed Gidget was. And so he decides to invite, Jeff to go to Hawaii and stay with Gidget because how depressed she is. They broke up, and the parents kind of like the guy. Well, not at first, but they eventually warmed up to him, and so in the first film, so they say, oh, let's invite him out here. So they pay his plane fare. He says. And he thinks about it and goes, yeah, okay, I'll go. Visit the train, train chair train men fences. And of course, which of course, over the course of this film, they eventually do at the end of the film, and they get back together at the end, and that's it. Well, the other two films I should mention, they play more like a TV, like a movie of the week type thing. I know it was prevalent back then as it was, but during my time in the 70s, 80s, and 90s with the movies of the week genre. But that's what the other two films remind me of. That's why I combine everything in one review, because it feels like a movie of the week thing. Well, 2 years later, you had Gidget Goes to Rome. I mean, they're not that creative with the title. I mean, I understand the first film is called Gidget, but the other two films are not too creative when it comes to the titles. And naturally, of course, to go to Rome for a scene, I guess you may call it like a senior trip. It didn't make that clear if it's like a senior trip or a trip just before the senior year in high school for Gidget and her friends. And they go off to Rome and pretty much chaperone from the parents. At first, she didn't want Gidget to go, and once again, at the beginning of the film, she breaks up with Moondoggy again. At the beginning of this film, again, it's like almost the same premise as the first film, but in this case, the parents weren't there, Gidget's parents. So Gidget's father actually contacted an old friend of his who lives in Rome to be like a unofficial chaperone to Gidget, make sure she stays out of trouble and stuff like that. And so the friend reluctantly agrees, oh, come on, and said, I don't want to follow your daughter around, it's not appropriate, it's not right. And then he thinks about it and says, I don't know. And the funny thing is, Gidget actually falls in love with the guy, and she finds out by the end of the film that he was married and he had about 4 or 5 kids, and I mean, it was crazy. And then of course again she goes back to Moondoggy at the end of this film as well. I mean, it's like, I mean, watching these movies, it's like it's the same movie, but 3 films is like the same thing, and it's I guess maybe that's why. I don't know if they made more Gigget films after this one. Well, I know they made the television series starring Sally Field as Gigget, and that was a pretty popular show back in the '60s. The main people, of course, remember the movie series, but the television show with a very, very young Sally Field, and she did look good in a bikini, I might add. And I should point this out. Of course, that's when Sally Field was hot. You know, she was young, she was pretty, she was hot, she had a nice figure and everything else. And before she got involved making, even though she is a two-time Oscar winner, but she made those crappy movies in the '70s with Burt Reynolds. I mean, just for that alone, she should give it back her 2 Oscars. That's for playing in those cannonball movies with Burt Reynolds. But I'm getting off topic. But these movies were, they were of that time, and the very first Gigget movie, like I said earlier, did start the whole beach movie genre. So it's, it's pretty typical movie, especially since I had never seen many beach movies before. I haven't really watched them. I've seen like a bits and pieces of them, but I can understand where they get all the tropes from all the other, from the Frankie and Annette movies that will come later on in the 1960s from this particular movie, and it's pretty funny to see where they get all those ideas from. It's from this movie, or this movie series. So this is my review of the Gigget movie series. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, that's all WDY, and that's c.com, that's the whole page of my reviewer, Christine Moore, and please please watch all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.